Hello and welcome to the We Recommend podcast, a movie podcast where every week we recommend a movie for you to watch and then come back here and listen to us discuss. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Jason.
When I'm a guest in another man's house, I don't reach into his refrigerator without asking permission, because this week we recommend The Rundown.
Yeah. I think if The Rock is in your kitchen, not only can you smell what The Rock is cooking, but he's going to get in your fridge.
Yeah, he's going to.
I don't think he needs permission.
I mean, The Rock walks in my house uninvited, doors for some reason unlocked. He opens it up and I'm like, okay, yes, sir.
He automatically has permission, I think, because everything that he does becomes property of the people. I think. Like his eyebrow.
He's the people's champ. He's the people's leader. And honestly, he keeps like our grid system online because he is the most electrifying man in sports entertainment.
It's just his workout routine just powers the entire country.
Something I do want to know is, so you've seen a lot of Rock movies, like Dwayne Johnson movies?
I've seen several. Haven't seen them all.
So this is like his second or third. I think he shows up in one of the Mummies, and then he does the Scorpion King, and then he's got this.
Yeah.
And then he continues and then becomes a behemoth of a man. So I'm wondering, do you prefer this type of Rock or do you prefer the Dwayne Johnson version? Like, do you like him better when he's smaller and he's less?
I did notice he was a tad bit smaller.
He's a lot bit smaller compared to now.
I guess. I know.
Because he was still in wrestling shape during this point because he was still a wrestler.
Oh.
In 2003.
No, I guess I didn't really have a preference. I don't think they're that much different.
Yeah,
he's just a little smaller.
Yeah, it's funny because whenever one of the best parts of this movie is whenever he tackles a pillar of a house. Because at first when I was watching this, I was like, oh, he's just kind of playing like a slightly elevated like human in this one where he can just do kind of amazing typical action movie things.
Yeah,
and because I was thinking like, oh, Fast and Furious 7, where he rips he's like, my arm's not broken anymore, rips a cast just by flexing.
Yes.
And then that moment shows up and I'm like, oh, wait, no, he's always doing this. But I kind of like him better when he's smaller and he seems like a real human.
He seems a little bit flawed.
Like now he can't do anything. He can't just be like, oh yeah, I just like go to clubs or whatever, because he's a monster. They'd have to resize the door for him to get in. I don't know. It was kind of nice and refreshing to see him not be like a larger than life character in a movie.
He was still pretty huge.
He's still huge. He's still huge. But I was like, oh, he couldn't eat Seann William Scott. Yeah. He could try, but.
Oh, and Seann Williams is great. And this reminds me a lot of the.
He's Stifler with a beard in this.
Yes. Yes.
And Indiana Jones.
It's the same. It reminds me of the character of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he was the gay cousin.
Oh yeah.
And they were both really bad at karate.
But like the gang thinks he's way cooler than Mac. Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, watch this! I'm gonna do this stunt." Or he just like immediately wrecks and dies. So good. Spoilers for that. Another thing I want to talk to you about is, so in MacGruber. Right, MacGruber is an insane guy, action star who can do whatever. He doesn't use guns until the end of the movie, where he decides to use guns. And then in this movie, there's also an insane distraction. This movie is MacGruber. Well, we just did the same movie back to back. It's literally
which
MacGruber,
one came out first?
So Rundown came out first. Okay. So it's definitely MacGruber's making fun of this type of movie. But I was like, no way did we just do the same movie back to back? Because I haven't seen The Rundown in forever, and I just think when I was watching it, I was like, uh-oh.
I bet they pulled from that one because it was so fresh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that we did like two versions of the same movie, where you have The Rundown's kind of taking itself a little more serious. It's still obviously goofy, and it's kind of portraying old action movies from the 80s and 90s. And then the one we just did, MacGruber, is way over the top and insane. And so there's also one other thing. You remember, I can't remember what movie it was. I think it was on the Tommy Boy episode. We were talking about Lone Survivor, where they roll down a giant hill.
Oh.
And that happens in this movie. Same director.
Oh, really?
Did this movie and Lone Survivor. I'm just thinking, did Peter Berg get the job on Lone Survivor because he constantly has people rolling down hills for a really long time?
I think so.
I immediately, in the middle of this, was like, Natalie, he does this twice in his filmography. How insane is that?
And it keeps going and going
and going. And it's always funny, though.
Yeah.
At least in this movie, it's like obviously a joke. And in Lone Survivor, it's supposed to be taken serious, but it lasts, I think it lasts longer than this one.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, is this a joke movie all of a sudden in Lone Survivor? I think it's funny. But Peter Berg, he probably has done a lot of movies. I don't know how many of you've seen, but do you know anything about Peter Berg? He did.
Oh, now I know that he directed this movie and Lone Survivor.
Yeah, he did. He did a lot of movies with Mark Wahlberg, but he did the Battleship movie, which is not the worst movie ever, but it's also not good. He did Hancock with Will Smith.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Deepwater. Then he does everything after Hancock and Battleship. It's pretty much everything is with Mark Wahlberg. Lone Survivor, Deepwater Horizon, Patriots Day, Mile 22, Spencer Confidential.
It's like, hey, Mark, well, I got an idea. What if I push you down a mountain?
Right?
I've done it before. It works pretty well.
Yeah. But then there's also two movies that actually kind of stand out that are pretty darn good. The Kingdom and the Friday Night Lights movie.
Oh, cool.
Dude, Gracie, what are you doing over there to Jason?
She
wants down.
Yeah. You want down? Should I just let her down?
Just let her do it. She's such a spaz.
Okay. All right. Spaz out.
I'm probably going to leave this in. Gracie's our little dog. I usually cut all this stuff out, but I just feel like y'all probably want to hear stuff with our dog.
Yeah. She's super cute. She's a little chihuahua.
Yeah.
Long hair chihuahua.
Cutest little chihuahua you ever seen.
Medium hair chihuahua? I don't know.
No, none of those.
No. She's fluffy.
Yeah. She is. She's nice and soft. She's a cute little girl. So I want you to do your best Christopher Walken impression.
Oh man.
We're just gonna try. We're gonna be really bad at it.
Okay. Man.
So just say they
yeah, give me something to say.
Yeah, they had my tooth. I want it back.
They have my tooth and I want it back.
You did The Rock. I mean, no, you did Rocky.
I don't know.
They had my tooth.
Oh yeah.
I want it back. Was that any good?
That was better.
I feel like it was pretty good. All right,
they have my tooth.
You go into this like weird. Like, you become the Rock. You become Rocky when you do it. Oh man, I really want to say The Rock when I say Rocky.
You become the Rocky.
So do you think this is the worst movie we've done on the podcast?
No.
You know, what do you think is worse then? If you say Point Break, I would jump over.
No. I thought this was better than Point Break, but no, the really old one from the 80s we did. I don't like that one too much.
Red Dawn?
Nope. The other one with when he was the sound technician guy.
Blowout.
Thought it was worse than this.
We have. Wow.
But
somebody just got kicked off the podcast. I won't point fingers. Wild. Okay. Well, let's get into some facts.
But they're also very different.
Since I'm hurting at my core right now. Just kidding. No, this is like, I will say, like, when I started this movie, I was like, I was nervous because I haven't seen the rundown since I was in high school. But when I was in high school, I saw it a billion times. It was always on TV. And then it starts off with him going to the nightclub, but it starts with the crappy graphics of like the XFL players, yes. Which I think is wild that the whole intro is nothing but an XFL
what's up
commercial. Well, it was around the same time, and Rock's part of the WWE, and I'm sure like to be in it, they probably had some sort of.
You have to mention all this XFL stuff.
Yeah,
like a promotion.
Yeah. Which I love the XFL when it came out.
But he was even like, I don't like football, or I don't get into football. Then he keeps going.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, they have a chance to run it back again. I was like, okay, which I think is very funny. So I don't really have that many facts, but I will say the few that I have.
Here's a fact that I learned from this movie. If you have two of something, you're better at doing anything with those two things than if you only had one.
Yeah.
Or whips.
Yeah, if you have a little bit of thunder, if you have a little lightning.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. The action in this movie is great, though.
It's awesome.
At first, I was a little worried during the nightclub scene because it would not stop cutting. I was like, dude, stop cutting.
And then they have these people, like, why do they spend so much time talking about these people when they have nothing to do with any of the rest of the movie at all?
Well, is this supposed to show, it was just like, hey, here's what The Rock can do. He can literally beat up an entire offensive line of just man meat.
XFL players.
Yeah. I love like we're supposed to take that serious. I'm like, okay, come on, guys. The XFL is the rejects of the NFL. Sorry if you are part of the XFL right now and you're listening to this.
Damn it.
Also, send us some mail if you are. I want to know all about it. And have you met The Rock? So, according to Seann William Scott, the thunder and lightning bit was just a joke, but was so entertaining they kept it in the film.
Yeah.
Whenever I was younger, and like used to do this all the time, like me and my friends.
You think that did Joe Dirt come out after this? Because he kind of did that with his backup mic.
He did.
And he's like, you got my mic and my backup mic right here.
Yeah. Joe Dirt was first.
Hell
wow.
Yeah.
Wait, a bunch of frauds in this movie.
Fuck yeah, Joe.
So this was kind of the wildest thing that I learned from the film. According to director commentary on the DVD, Christopher Walken had never seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That's why he made that lewd comment about Oompa Loompas.
And was therefore reluctant to use the phrase Oompa Loompas in his final scene.
Yeah.
Director Peter Berg provided Walken with a copy of the movie, and after watching it, Walken decided to use the phrase.
What? That makes it worse.
I know. I was like, what are you talking about? Why would you want to say it after that? So two more facts, and we'll hop into the movie. So the film's original title was Heldorado.
Oh wow!
It was then changed. It was then changed to Welcome to the Jungle before being changed again to The Rundown.
God.
Although it was released in several countries, including the United Kingdom, as Welcome to the Jungle, Dwayne later starred in the unrelated Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. I feel like that happens a lot.
And he was the Jungle Boat Cruise guy.
Rock loves the jungle, man.
He fucking loves the jungle. He belongs there, I think.
Wow.
Because he beats everybody up. He's like the king of the jungle.
I can't wait to get to some of these parts. Because where this movie like sometimes fails in certain situations, like it excels in some scenes. So according to director Peter Berg, they were scouting a location in the Amazon forest of Brazil when they were held up at gunpoint by 3 locals and robbed of all cash, computers, and other valuables. After that, the shoot location was changed to Hawaii.
Nice.
Unless it was a joke that they said, because it does say probably a joke, though.
Oh.
So I don't know. It's weird. A lot of the facts seem to come from the commentary. And then I was just reading large sections of the director's commentary since I didn't have the movie. And I cannot tell if anything they say in the director's commentary is true or serious at all. Because like they constantly seem like they're just kind of ribbing each other because Peter Berg and Dwayne Johnson. And I'm like, I don't know if I can say any of these because I don't know if any of it's true. Because usually I try to go to like interviews and commentary and I could not find any interviews.
Are you calling Dwayne Johnson a liar?
No, I just think he's a very funny person. Especially back in these days. He was super funny. Now all he does is just kind of promote energy drinks and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, because he has his own energy drink. Zoa Energy.
Never heard of it.
Me neither. Well, I have heard of it.
Also makes you big and strong and
probably does.
Samoan?
Probably has like 500 grams of protein in one drink. One sip.
Power shits.
The serving is like half an ounce size. But rewatching this, there were some parts where I was like, this is gonna be the worst movie we've done. Some parts where I was like, this is amazing. Especially rope fighting. Love that.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun summer movie.
Yeah, it's a good mix of being like funny when it's bad and fun when it's really good. And the action and the stunt work is just amazing. And all the actors are very charismatic. They get some great actors in it. When Rosario Dawson pops up, it's like, fuck.
And was Arnold Schwarzenegger in the
very beginning. And he says like, good luck. So apparently he showed up he was just kind of there on set and just kind of like having lunch with him. And Peter Berg's like, be in the movie, be in the movie.
So
be in the
you're
movie.
Here. You can't not be in a movie.
Like he said, he was like really twisting his arm, and he just wanted a cameo, just a slight cameo. And so they came up with the line with like "good luck," and it's supposed to be kind of a passing of the torch to The Rock to be the new action star.
Huh.
And what I loved is it worked. Like it's true. He is usually when you think of big action stars, especially from now, you're gonna think probably Jason Statham, Vin Diesel, and The Rock because they're all in the Fast and the Furious movies, like the big. And then you'd go to probably Marvel movies with like Chris Hemsworth and all them.
Sure.
But I love the cast. They're all game. They know exactly what type of movie this is. It's just supposed to be a fun action romp. And, as much as I feel like the script and sometimes the editing is trying to destroy it, it looks great. The locations look great. They filmed in Hawaii. And it ended up being a hit. It made $80 million.
Nice.
It's weird that this is one of the movies that ended up being a box office success. But even though it had a box office success, it still became a cult classic, which is kind of weird.
That's interesting.
It's like usually you have to fail to become a cult classic.
Yeah, I can't believe I never saw this.
But when you just kind of get forgotten, I feel like it's just a forgotten movie. It's just of the times, Yeah,
it's a very just for fun movie. It's not like you kind of can turn your brain off and watch it.
We are in the era of like Snatch, and because I feel like this and Snatch are kind of a good double feature almost, just in terms of very stylistic action movies with goofy characters you can barely understand, like whatever the Scottish guy is. But yeah, that's pretty much all the facts and all the things I want to say before we get into the film. Should we hip hop right on in?
Let's punch our way into this movie.
Let's go. The Rundown 2003, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Seann William Scott. Man, I keep wanting to say Sean Astin Scott, Rosario Dawson, and Christopher Walken. That's pretty much the 4 main characters you have to worry about. So we start the movie with Beck. He is a retrieval expert, a bounty hunter who collects debts from a man named Billy Walker. He also wants to open up a restaurant as a chef because we see him.
Yeah, he's listening to the cooking
station on the AM radio.
What?
That's my favorite station. I listen to it all the time to pass out. We see that he's dispatched to a nightclub to retrieve a championship ring from a football player. These are all XFL players. This is also where we get Arnold just walking through saying good luck, which is great. But then like they kind of go through the whole thing with the XFL players, size, weight, what they do, what teams they play on. And it's like these really lame graphics. It's almost kind of like something seeing a video game type graphics.
It was paid to be put in here.
Yeah, definitely. But this scene's great because it's fun to see Rock whip everybody's ass. And I don't know, he's just immediately charismatic. And,
yeah, he does whip so much ass.
Yeah, and he performs a rock bottom. Like, come on.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Like, as soon as that happened, I was like, Natalie, that's his finisher.
Is that the body slam thing?
It's where he like throws him over like his shoulder and then throws him down like that with one arm.
Okay.
It's called the rock bottom.
Sure, I didn't watch much wrestling.
Attitude Arrow. Represent. Something that I think really helps this film at the very beginning is there's a scene where the quarterback, the guy with the ring, he's like, I'm not doing this. And then like all the offensive linemen's like, is there a problem here? And then he starts just throwing drinks in the Rock's face, and the Rock's like, okay. So he goes to the bathroom and he calls the boss and he's like, can we just do this some other time? Like they have a chance to like run it back. I don't really want to hurt them. And that line there, I was like, oh, this movie is going to be smart with the characters at least. Because I don't know, that's just a really great thing to add to show that he's not an asshole, but he's got to do his job because no one gave him a break. And I'm assuming that's why he's in the situation where he has to be this guy.
But he does give people options.
Yeah, he gives them 2 options every time. And if you just go with option A, it seems like it's going to work out for you.
Yeah, it's always going to work out.
Yeah, instead, because I mean, he's going to get what he needs. Also, probably my favorite part of this whole scene is he takes out the quarterback with a turntable, just throws it. It's great. I'm like, hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
He wrecks this fucking place.
Yeah. And so after beating up the whole team, he goes back to his car and he's like all exhausted. And then he gets assaulted by his bosses, one of his other collectors.
Shot in the head with
the beanbag guy. Apparently, that's an adult film star.
What?
Yeah.
Man.
And I guess Beanbag. See, this is the thing because I learned this in the commentary. Well, I guess he had a movie that was called like Beanbag something. So, but I don't know if that's serious because that came from the commentary. I don't know. But it's like, hey, guy, like he got the ring. Like, why are we attacking the Rock? You know?
Just comes up and slaps him with a coin purse.
It's so wild. So Beck is angry and he confronts Walker and tells him that he wants out of the business. Walker talks to him into one last bounty. Retrieve Walker's son, Travis, played by Seann William Scott, from a small mountain town in Brazil, and Walker would give him enough money to open his own restaurant. And the main guy, Billy Walker, he comes off as powerful and scary, and he's also a little racist.
Yeah.
Because he calls like Beck's friends monkeys. I didn't catch that the first time. Then when I was doing notes, I was like, oh, this guy's racist.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. But I guess it's supposed to mean that he's like a mob boss or something.
Yeah, he's a bad guy. Bad guy, no
Most
no
of
good,
those
very
people
bad.
are racist.
Yeah, pretty much.
In movies, at least.
And it seems that we'll learn a little later. I guess the reason they're getting Travis is because he slept with some Chicago's mob boss's like wife. It's just a very little line at the very end that we get that.
High five.
So Beck accepts and leaves for Brazil. He flies in a plane piloted by a weird Scottish guy that you can't understand a word he's saying. I had to put on this is subtitles. His name's Declan. He's great though. He's very funny in this movie. I like him. Especially there's a part where Travis says something mean to him and he like throws down the water and like starts walking up like he's gonna beat him up. But Declan gives him warning. Once they land, he kind of shows him around and takes him to the town. And he gives them warnings and shows them around the jungle. Talks about how if the wildlife is dangerous, the rebels are dangerous, and Hatcher is the most dangerous. And he seems to be using the people of this country as slaves, essentially.
Yeah, it sucks what he's done.
Yeah.
It looks terrible. The
Guy's
whole
bad.
thing.
He's pretty much just
worst man.
Yeah, not good. Built a huge mine, though. That's a ginormous
dug
place.
a big hole.
Jeez Louise.
Well, you can do that with slave labor, I guess.
So, and then we officially meet Travis, who's trying to woo Marina. Right? Her name's Marina.
Yeah, he gives it a pretty good try with the flowers. I mean, that's like.
And then he messes it up because all he's wanting is her uncle's boat. He tells her he knows exactly where to go to get the gato. I think it's El Gato Diablo.
That pussy.
She is very curious about how much. I just heard that you said, get this pussy. That's funny. She is very curious about how much it's worth. She wants to go with and split the reward 50-50. And I'm sure we won't figure out why, though, later.
Because she wants money? And money's cool.
When Beck arrives in town of El Dorado, he meets with the man running the mining operation, Cornelius Hatcher, played by Christopher Walken, who he's game every movie he's in. He does the thing that he does, and it works every goddamn time.
He's always so good.
Yeah. We see that it's a giant mine. It's very chaotic introduction to Hatcher because there's so much going on and cutting, and it's like, what is happening? Is everybody about to die? What's going on? But we see that he's very hard on the people that he works for him. Works in quotations here.
Well, I will say this about Christopher Walken's character has really, really bad analogies.
Terrible. It's like, hey, let's stop using American analogies on these people that can barely speak English, you know? But that scene with the tooth fairy is so funny, though. It's so funny and good. That's great. Beck is there to ask Hatcher if he knows Travis. Hatcher does, and Travis is supposed to split anything he finds 60-40, meaning Hatcher gets 60 and Travis gets 40. You also get the line, when I'm a guest in another man's house, I don't reach into his refrigerator without asking permission. And then Hatcher's like, refrigerator. Refrigerator. I can't, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I can't.
Go, try it again.
I can't. And then he shows them like to the whole mine and it looks like hell instead of a refrigerator. That's great. But Hatcher gives his blessing to grab Travis and Beck, but Beck has to give him $10,000, which he does. I don't know. Christopher Walken.
There you go. It's back.
He's I mean, are you like a big fan of Christopher Walken?
I am. I don't think this is one of his better performances, but it is a performance. It's okay.
Have you ever seen the movie King of New York?
No.
That's going to be a movie we do on here in probably like 5 years once we get to that point.
That's cool.
It's just kind of this 80s movie where he's kind of like the main like gangster of New York and everybody loves him. And it's just like, Christopher Walken, really?
Cool.
But he crushes that movie. So Beck goes to Marina's bar to get Travis. He gets the line, like Travis walks out. He's like, he's in his 20s. He's got sandy hair, a beard,
just looking at him.
wearing a blue shirt and jeans. Right now, he's got a real bewildered look on his face. It's great. But even before we get to Travis, there's a great back and forth between Rosario Dawson and The Rock. And I was just like, oh, man, this is working. The Rock's actually being good in this movie. And it's awesome to see. Yeah. It's weird that.
The thing about she's like, where are you from? And she goes somewhere with a
bartender that she gets up and goes around. He's like, my bad. Then you get the Brazilian nuts. Like, Brazilian nuts go for like $15 a pound in America. It's like, oh, we don't call them Brazilian nuts. It's like, what do you call them? Well, we're in Brazil. So we just call them nuts.
What do they call them?
Nuts.
Are you sure?
That's what she said. And then we get the that's what she said. I was watching The Office before this. So Beck gives his option A and option B speech, which is what he always does, to Travis, but Travis refuses. Beck just punches him in the face, which will happen 500 times in this movie, and captures him. But at this point, Travis is like, what about option C? He's like, there is no option C. And then Hatcher walks in as option C for him. No. Yeah. What if we just kiss him? Hatcher walks into the bar, and now Hatcher wants Travis so that he can lead him to the El Gato Diablo.
Evil kitty.
Devil cat. Devil pussy.
The bad kitty.
That's one hot cat. So Beck refuses to get... I'm sorry, guys. I know y'all. So many people ran off the road from laughing so hard from those bits.
Yes, stop driving and listen.
Yeah. So Beck refuses to give up Travis and beats up everybody there. It's a great fight, though. Love it. A guy whips the table in half.
Yes.
When I saw that, I was like, man, I want to learn how to use a whip.
Oh, that's the 2-whip guy too, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, he's got 2 whips later. He's just got 1 whip right now.
Okay. Where'd you find all these guys with whips?
I don't know. And why is there not a whip fight in every movie? Which this is also kind of playing off Indiana Jones.
Yeah, because this is a lot like Indiana Jones.
I mean, this is just doing all those type of movies.
That, like Indiana Jones, and he had a buddy, but instead of short round, it's tall, big, tall, strong.
Yeah. It's Indiana Jones, Romancing the Stone, and MacGruber all in one movie. That's a hell of a movie. But yeah, so essentially Beck gets the upper hand, and the whole time he's not using guns because he doesn't use guns, but he's constantly using them like he's gonna use them.
It's because he's hitting people with them.
And something I love is when people take guns and just completely dismantles them and like throws them around. I was like, hell yeah, that's the coolest thing ever.
But he does it, but then
he usually does it with his muscles.
He does do it with his muscles.
He flexes on them, the guns just explode.
When he used the magazine, when he ejected the magazine and he trips on it.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That's awesome. It's good.
It's
good. What are you talking about?
What are you doing?
Man, that's probably like a 500th action movie that's done it too. But Beck takes Travis out the door. Hatcher says, "You're dead. You don't even know it yet."
Mm-hmm.
And then Travis, like 5 seconds later, says the same thing. And on the way back to the airfield, Travis forces their Jeep off the road into a jungle. You get the long roll down a mountain, like Peter Berg's other movie, Lone Survivor. It's great.
People falling down is the funniest shit ever.
It always works. And Natalie the whole time is like, they're dead here, they're dead here.
Yes.
Everything's broken there. I'm like, and then it gets down to the very end and they land in water. I'm like, babe, they land in water. Everything's fine. As long as you land in water, no matter what happens, you're okay.
It's not about the journey. It's about the destination.
In action movies, water heals everything.
It stops all
it does,
pain
though.
and hurt.
It's weird. It always works, though.
It's amazing.
So there he tries to escape, but is recaptured by Beck. You get the classic thunder and lightning bit. You know, oh, how about a little bit of thunder? Oh, have you seen his friend Lightning?
And he just punches him.
Yeah, it's great. Any time that happens, it's amazing.
But then it works.
Yeah.
At one time.
Yeah, at the very end, it finally works for him. It's great. But this is something me and my friend growing up, Richard, used to do a lot. This is so funny. We found it so funny. And I love this. You get the line like after he like beats the crap out of Travis, "You done beat me up? Let's go." Because Beck says it, and it's so funny. "You done beat me up?" It's just one of those things where it's like, man, The Rock, he was always going to be a star. But then I also love it when he knocks him on the ground, he pins him. And I was like, wow, he pinned him for 3 seconds. That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, nobody came in and slapped the floor.
This was around the time when if there was a wrestler in a movie, they always have to do some sort of wrestling thing.
Yeah.
So he does the rock bottom and things like that in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. Because he also does the same thing in the movie that The Rock was in called Walking Tall, another movie that I loved growing up. I was really big into wrestling, so I kind of watched everything that the wrestlers were in.
And The Rock is just, he's kind of cool and fun.
It's just weird that, you know, like you have someone like The Rock, which is like, yeah, of course, he should be able to be an action star. And then you have John Cena, and it's like, well, yeah, he was like the main guy in wrestling, even though I didn't really like him at all, but love him in movies, hated him as a wrestler.
Interesting.
But then out of those two, still the best actor out of all of them was Batista.
No shit.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Drax.
Yeah.
And I was like, Batista had no charisma in wrestling, which is the weirdest thing. But he also just kind of worked with better directors, honestly, I think. But anyways, we'll continue.
He's funny as hell.
Yeah, he's really funny. And then, did you ever watch Blade Runner 2049?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
so
the
it's
worm
like
eater.
he's the best part of that movie. Like that
worm
section
farmer.
is the best part of the movie. It's great, and he
That
has the
was a really
tiniest
cool part.
glasses.
Yeah.
Big people with tiny glasses fall for it every time.
Well, it just means he's intellectual.
Yeah, it's just like, man, you drop those, you lose them though. They're so small, I can't see them.
Takes off his glasses, body slams.
Yeah. So Travis tries to get out of it by explaining how valuable and important the gato is.
That's so important.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then you see it, and it's like, wow, this looks like a cheap piece of prop setting.
Made of pure gold.
Yes, but Beck refuses. I thought you get a very. Seann William Scott's very good at delivering lines because you get the part. It's like, you're a very unpleasant individual. You know that? It's great. We get a scene with Hatcher explaining that they have to get the gato because if the people get it, then
I'm sorry. I can't.
What? Am I saying it wrong?
I don't know. You're saying it right.
What? This is hilarious.
We gotta get that gato,
Gotta
man.
see that gato.
It gets me every time.
A part just kind of like, can you just say cat, please?
I know.
Or artifact something.
Yeah,
They
I
do
don't
call
know.
it the entire time they say gato.
I know. It's killing me right now.
It's the first word I learned in Spanish class too. But if the people get the statue, then they won't need Hatcher anymore. He tries to explain this to those men using like a tooth fairy analogy. It's great. This whole part, it's probably the funniest part of the whole movie.
Yeah, they're just looking at him like, what the fuck is he saying?
Yeah, it's like, he's like, can you please explain the concept of the tooth fairy to everybody? And then eventually he's like, okay, hold on.
And then the analogy's wrong because at the end he goes, I want my tooth back.
Yeah, because he says, she takes the goddamn tooth and gives a quarter.
I can't.
They have my tooth. I want it back.
It's a baby
terrible.
tooth.
I know. It's like,
You can't get it. There's nothing you could do with
yeah.
it.
But I guess the whole thing is,
And it was your parents.
it'd be better
Chris.
if he was the tooth fairy. It's like, I'm the tooth fairy. They got my tooth.
See, it
No.
doesn't work.
No. So he's the kid in the bed. Tooth fairy takes the gato,
The Rock is the
but
Rock
then
the
leaves
tooth?
money. Because the whole point is he wants the gato to get money. So yeah, technically you want to
Wait,
give the gato to a
but-
tooth fairy so they give you money.
But then
he's
you
saying,
want to get your tooth back.
but he also
'cause
wants
he's a
the
gangster?
tooth.
I don't. Why
I
does
guess he wants Seann William Scott's. He wants Travis's tooth so he can get the money from the tooth fairy.
And so he's taking all these people's teeth
Yeah,
that his miners. He's taking their teeth.
except
to
he's a bad tooth fairy because he only
quarters.
gives them 65 cents an hour. So he doesn't even give him $1.
I imagine the real tooth fairy is the exact same.
So when your kids are like, they lose a tooth, it's like, Dad, the tooth fairy only gave me $1. It's like, well, I could only give you 65 cents an hour.
No, I forgot so many teeth under pillows that I just came out with it. I'm like, look, it's not real, y'all. I had to because I couldn't keep up the facade any longer.
It's like, dang, don't forget Christmas. Sheesh.
I didn't do that to Christmas.
What about
Yet.
Easter? Do you give them candy on Easter?
Yeah, they get shit. I don't know.
On Columbus Day, do you give them land?
No,
Not
yeah, we
theirs.
take land from the locals and we give it to them.
Every Columbus Day, you take your kids to a reservation. It's yours now.
Oh God.
I'm cutting that. I don't know where I came with it. I don't know why I did that. Because I don't know, whatever. So Beck and Travis stop because Travis has to pee. We get a little silly scene where Travis is trying to get his dick out, and it's great. It's like, oh, it's a really awkward scene of
that's
having
pretty
a
funny.
tough guy try to unzip a guy's pants. It's always funny.
And how did he get it out? There's no way.
I know he's just like wiggling it. I was like, I'm assuming he has the boxers with a
guess.
hole in it. I don't know what you call them because I don't wear those.
But
'cause
then
they're
you're gonna have to
uncomfortable.
like.
That's the great part. Because let me get to the scene. So we also, a little bit before this, Beck is talking about how he doesn't give breaks no matter what. That will just come in
Horrible
back a little bit
boss.
later. Yeah. So, but while he's peeing, Travis is peeing, Beck accidentally steps into a trap and gets hung up by vines. And Travis makes fun of him and picks up
I would too.
his black book and he's like, oh, you want to be a chef? During this whole time with the thing, so he doesn't zip up his pants because he can't. So for like a good couple minutes, he's just walking around making fun of him with his penis hanging out of his pants. But then he's able to get his hands free.
Oh, that's funny.
But the whole time I was like, Natalie, he still has his penis out. He still has his penis out. He still has his penis out. It's great. But then Travis steps into a trap and gets hung up as well. And he immediately gets punched. It's like, give me my book back. Punches him right after. And then we get the classic monkey humping the Rock's face.
That was
Dude, the puppets in this movie look terrifying and great, though. Because you have real monkeys, and then it cuts to the puppet monkeys, and they look pretty good.
I think these are...
They look vicious.
Aren't these baboons, though?
Yeah, they're baboons.
Okay.
I mean, baboons are monkeys, right? But they're definitely baboons. Baboons
I think they're a little bit different.
They're a different type of baboon, though. I don't think they're like your...
No, they're not like the big, mean blue butt ones.
Yeah, and they have like the weird colors underneath.
You. Yeah, not those.
But I love this as he's starting to get humped in the face. Beck does. Travis is established dominance. Established dominance. It's so good.
What would you do? Just try to bite his dick off?
Just be like, please don't go for my penis. Please don't eat my penis or my face. Luckily, they just got horny monkeys and didn't get hungry monkeys.
No, I spit.
Yeah. You won't like me. I'm a spitter. I'm a swallower. So
anything you put in my mouth, you're gonna lose.
Bing Bag guy comes out and say, I know what to do in this situation based on my previous performances.
No.
So after an unfortunate encounter with the local monkeys, the two find themselves in a camp of local resistant movement. At the resistant encampment, Travis convinces the rebels that Beck works for Hatcher and was sent to kill them because they only speak Brazilian or Portuguese, whatever.
Because in Brazil, they speak Portuguese and English.
Oh, cool. Didn't know that.
Mm.
And he just essentially tells the Rock, like, stare him in his eyes and look as mean and tough as you can. And so he's doing it. And of course, the guy's like, why is he looking so mad at me?
Provoking him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he essentially is just saying, like, hey, he's going to kill all you guys. And he's sent by Hatcher, which makes it to where they're going to fight.
That's the funniest shit.
This fight absolutely rules, right?
Yes.
It's awesome. The slow motion shots, just them swinging down and just like kicking him around in the air while they're all swinging on ropes. Yes. Them using, when he gets the stick, right? Because Beck starts getting the upper hand and he's got the stick that's on fire and he bashes it on that guy's head. It looks so good.
That was cool.
It was so awesome. It's where this movie succeeds is in the action, especially when they don't cut it up too bad. And it's just kind of slow motion. And the point is to see how hard he's getting hit. It's great. He's just like slinging guys. It's like into trees.
Do you think
he's getting kicked in the air? He gets thrown all the way up into a tree and falls like a lot.
Do you think maybe that they thought that the Rock needs revenge against monkeys, and this was supposed to be a monkey fight?
I love they call it
monkeys.
It's Seann William Scott's like, this is some sort of spinning Tarzan jujitsu.
Yeah, they're like, well, he can't fight real monkeys. We're going to use actors.
We're going to use people who fight like monkeys would.
Yes,
it's great.
It's pretty fucking cool.
Amazing. It's the best. It's my favorite part of the movie, honestly. When I was taking notes, I was getting ready to take notes and I was watching it and the whole scene happened. It's like, crap, got to rewind it. I got to write down every little thing in there.
And what happens when you beat up a group of people? They become best friends.
Exactly.
Every time.
Because essentially everybody's about to kill Beck and then Rosario Dawson comes out and it's like, yo, stop. We're all on the same Yo, Adrian, stop. We're all on the same team here. Travis didn't know, during the scene, Travis is like, what are you doing here? He didn't know that she was a rebel leader because it turns out she's the leader of the resistance.
He's a PhD student and he's not very smart.
Well, he doesn't have a PhD. He only did 2 semesters at Stanford or whatever.
Well, that's why I said he was a student.
Yeah, he keeps saying he has a PhD, but he does not.
Well, I heard him say that you're messing with someone who is studying for a PhD or something.
He says, you're messing with, you don't think I know? I have a PhD. And then he's like, you dropped out.
Okay.
But we learned she wants Travis to lead her to the Gato.
And stop trying to make him look smart.
Yeah.
In any movie, please.
I know.
It's never going to work.
He's such a cocky asshole. It's like impossible to make him look super smart.
Okay.
But she wants him so that she can get the Gato and then sell it so that she can free them from Hatcher. She explains that Hatcher only pays them 65 cents an hour, and the only way to get money is to borrow from Hatcher, and then you owe him and have to work for him in the mine. It's a shitty situation.
Indentured servitude?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, pretty much. He kind of set it up to no matter what, they're going to fail.
Yeah, bad man.
And he uses like, well, at least you got houses and like you have all this stuff because of me. But you also want to die because of me.
Yeah, and you're gonna die.
Yeah. But then all of a sudden, Hatcher suddenly attacks the camp. I will say Beck does earn the respect of the guy that was beating the crap out of him doing
him a gift.
Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali, like little speech. It's really bad.
He's talking about which one would win.
Yeah, it's kind of a cringy talk, and then it's pretty lame. But this happens in like every action movie in the 80s where it's like, oh, this person.
Oh, he can fight Annie, he thinks.
Yeah. But here's the thing. He gives The Rock a gift. And just like I said in MacGruber, where you have this thing when if something comes off as it could be portrayed as like almost kind of homosexual a little bit, that person has to die. Because immediately Hatcher attacks the camp and he immediately dies after giving The Rock another man a gift and them bonding and seeming like looking at each other, trying to be like, oh my gosh, we have so much in common, actually.
And this is supposed to develop like this big sense of loss for this character, even though they just met.
Yeah, and they really don't go all the way for it. It's just really... Rosario Dawson's like, no, well, let's go.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was very funny because I like went on the whole speech with MacGruber. It's like, oh, someone has to die because if it seems like they're too close or they might come off a little gay.
I have to look out for that from now on.
Is immediately what happened in this. I was like, wow, they didn't even wait 5 minutes. But so they get away on a boat. Beck, Travis, and Mariana, is that what I said?
Marina.
Yeah. Marina. Escape the camp, and Beck makes a deal with Marina. She helps him get Travis to the airfield in exchange for the Gato. So they agree. And Travis is like, oh, well, that's great. I guess I'm just screwed here.
Throwing that Gato around all around town. Gato.
Bro, Travis is, man, he knows about Gatos.
He'll still do anything to get that.
He'll do anything for a Gato. So after some surfing, Jesus.
We're back to Point Break. Oh no.
We're redoing Point Break.
Stuck in a time loop.
After some searching, Travis leads them to the cave behind a waterfall where the Gato is located. During this, you get the classic penis parasite.
Yeah.
I feel like it happened. It just pops up every decade in a movie.
Yeah, because it was Anaconda.
Yeah.
That was the first I ever heard about it.
I feel like movies just constantly spread this rumor about this parasite, and I feel bad for the parasite.
I think it might be real, though.
It could be. I don't know. I feel like I've looked it up so many times, and I can't ever remember what the outcome of the search
It gets in there, and it spreads out its barbs.
Yeah, it just has a party in there.
Ugh. Just drinks your pee.
Not this boy's pinto. Because that's what The Rock says.
So dumb.
He's so good. It's so good. His line delivery is so good. Not today.
Not my pinto.
In the scene, when they get into the cave, you have the methane explosion, and then also the weird 800-year-old safe that doesn't seem to make any sense.
Yeah.
And seemed to would have been great if Travis, who knows how this safe works, didn't immediately cause the safe to start collapsing. Because if he didn't immediately touch a giant stick, none of that would have been coming down, and then he could have just done the safe normally. So he's still like stupid and smart at the same time.
He's not exactly Indiana Jones because that never would have, flown for him.
But then again, Indiana Jones always gets in a situation where he's smart, but then in the end, he always does something dumb where he's almost about to die.
Yeah, I guess so.
Man,
none of them are great art. What are they called? Archaeologists?
Archaeologists, yeah.
we just get in trouble.
We have to do one of the Indiana Jones this year.
I think we should.
We'll do it a little. We'll give it some space from this one.
Or Uncharted. That was kind of like Indiana Jonesy.
I never watched that one. I need to watch it since I played the game.
Yeah, the game's cool.
But they get the Gato and they escape. And then they begin their journey back.
They get what they want and immediately leave.
Yeah, they're just like, it's like, oh, wow. So they're just gone. We didn't see how they escaped these rocks falling on them or anything. So on the way back, Marina chastises Travis for wanting to sell the artifact, but Travis argues that he actually did want to give it to a museum, just like Indy. Marina gives the two men, how do you say, what did she call them? Conlobos? The little fruits?
Bad fruits.
It's a toxic fruit that temporarily paralyzes the eater.
It's pretty funny, though.
And once it's great. Get out of here, monkey. Get out of here, monkey. Go away. The delivery by them saying that line is so funny. It's so good. But she tells Beck which direction the airfield is. She leaves them with the fire to keep the animals away. But the next day, after waking up, unable to move, the monkeys come back. Get out of here, monkey.
Hump their faces
Get out of
again.
here. But Beck comes out of his paralysis by thinking about home. See, thing is, when you're The Rock and you got such big monkeys, if you just think about home and yell it loud enough, paralysis is completely fixed.
Yeah, you can just will it away.
Yeah. That's the thing what action movies has taught us.
Maybe the monkeys were massaging them in the night and got all the poison out.
Who knows? Maybe these monkeys were like, actually, we love you now because
we're married.
Yeah. After we've had sex, I own you and I want to take care of you. Got you two.
Yeah, he's just a really sweet monkey husband.
Comes up, just starts petting his head. Brings him a banana and some like pears. I don't know what's in Brazil. Brings him some Brazil nuts, or as the monkeys call them, nuts.
Just teabags them.
Yeah. So Beck travels to the airfield. The local pilot, Declan, who wants his Jeep back, tells Beck that Marina was captured earlier by Hatcher and will probably be killed. This is where we get like Declan be like, "Where's my Jeep?" It's like, "I'll get you a Jeep." "Well, it's dead now. And then Travis makes fun of him. He's like, "You want to fight?" Beck, feeling guilty that he hasn't kept his word with Marina, decides to go rescue her. He's at the airfield and she doesn't have the Gato, so Travis talks Beck into helping along with Declan. The three head into town to rescue her.
Fuck yeah.
And then
town fight.
Yeah. And then so they take out one of the cameras at Hatcher's, and Beck gives Hatcher his classic option A, option B speech. And of course, Hatcher does not choose the thing. Wrong choice, Beck says. Hatcher locks down the town. And then we get the celery distraction with Declan. He comes out and puts on a distraction with some bagpipes. And I think it's an Ezekiel Bible quote that he says.
Yeah.
I think I've heard it in another movie, or maybe I'm just thinking, because I mean, they're just doing the Pulp Fiction bit.
Oh, I see.
Is it from the same scripture? I don't know. I can't remember. But this is great because they use a cow.
My name is the Lord.
Oh yeah, I think it's in the same book though. Because I think they use Ezekiel.
It's all the same book.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the same chapter or whatever. The book of Ezekiel.
Okay.
But this part's great because they use a cow stampede for cover. It's awesome. Yeah. You got Christopher Walken. That's a lot of cows. That was terrible.
You played cowbell.
Yeah. I have a fever.
Yeah.
So the two begin their assault on Hatcher's goon. Beck is wrecking shop while Travis just kind of fumbles away through it all. But he finally successfully uses his thunder and lightning method. It works on a guy.
That guy was not like the best fighter.
That guy was like halfway through a bottle of Jack Daniels before he even got to this fight. Because he looked pretty like, he's like, what the hell is going on here?
He's probably gonna just blew him over, with a little puff.
If he probably ran in circles and made him spin around a little bit, he'd passed out. But during all this, the chaos kind of gets a little overwhelming for him, and Hatcher's men are taking over. Travis becomes trapped by gunfire in a bus, and Beck saves him before the bus explodes by finally deciding to use guns. This is when the editing is just getting crazy, though. Like we're cutting to people just pulling bullets, triggers, bullets flying out of
one guy
things.
spits.
One guy spits. There's a "we do not go quietly" written on a gun just for a flash, and it's pretty chaotic. You have Travis yelling, and then finally the Rock just stands up. He's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm a badass." All of a sudden,
yes, I remember guns.
Then he just starts shooting, and he finds every cool way to cock a double barrel shotgun the entire time.
Like all the cool ways that you can kill something with two shotguns.
Yes, he finds a way.
He does it.
Every
single way.
And man, those shotguns shoots very far away and kills people. I'm like, I don't think shotguns.
Well, slugs aren't. They don't spread out.
That's true. They don't spread out as much.
So maybe I don't know, man. Movie said so.
The movie said so. So obviously he was using slugs. But no, it's great. The Rock just shooting guns. It was cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
If you're gonna say he doesn't use guns and you build up to the point where he uses gun, it successfully did it.
It was cool. I thought he was gonna give a people's eyebrow as he was turning around with the guns, but no. Sadly,
my favorite's when he turns the gun. He puts it under his arms and then cocks them.
And it makes a fart
sound. And then flips them again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the classic, put your hand under your arm fart sounds. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, so it's great. Oh, but I do love because he causes the giant explosion, and then he's walking away, and so I don't know. It looked weird because I don't know if the explosion behind him was fake, if he's not actually there, or if the Jeep he is about to walk into,
it's not there.
Because he's walking away from the explosion, but they have the Jeep in front of him. I'm like, is he just, and he continues to walk. I'm like, is he going to walk into this Jeep?
He slaps the Jeep
out
of the way.
But I was like, this is so weird. Like, why did they put that Jeep there? Because it made it look silly. And then they cut to another shot of him walking away. It was just one of those things where I was like, dang it, why do I have to focus on stupid stuff like that? But Hatcher tells his brother to take Marina, I will swear to God, I will not get her name right. I just don't feel comfortable the way I'm saying it. But Hatcher tells his brother to take Marina and the Gato and flee. But they are stopped by Travis, and Beck tells Beck takes out some guys by tackling a pillar from a house and causing it to fall down. And it's
I am a wrecking ball.
It's just like, let's see. There's 2 guys in this house. Instead of me just like maybe going and running into the building and beating them up, what if I just take down the whole building?
Yeah, we'll just beat up the house.
Since we're trying to save the town, might as well destroy it, right? We've had cows. We've shot everything. There's been a couple explosions. We're about to... And then Travis completely destroys their water tower. So now they have no water. They have no cows. They have nowhere to sleep. The bar is dead.
Can't even get drunk.
Right. But at least they got the cat.
They got that gato.
Then the 3 whip boys come out.
Yeah, the whip boys. Holy shit.
He takes them out after an awesome fight. They're just constantly whipping. He's like, he's jumping up in the air to dodge them. He's grabbing onto the whips and he's able to, he gets like this dope thing where they whip his hands where he has the 2 guns like right next to each other, but he ends up able to shoot them too. And
yeah, that
I was
was
like,
cool.
Hell yeah, dude.
He shot the 2 whip boys.
Yeah, the whip boys.
The whip brothers.
So great. But then after he beats him up, Travis says, hey guys, see you later. I got the gato. Bye. And he leaves, so we think. Hatcher confronts Beck, who offers him the chance to leave town, which Hatcher initially refuses, and after he is shot by the townspeople, Hatcher agrees to leave town, but eventually dies from his gunshot wounds. Pretty great. Like, I really like the way he dies, just how almost anticlimactic it is.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be funnier.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of great. He gets shot. He's like, okay.
I'll take option A.
I guess I lose. I'm hurting pretty bad. I'm just gonna walk out of here, and then just walks out and dies.
He's like, oh shit.
I don't know. When it happened, I was like, I really like this. I think this is a very fun way to kill your villain. You know?
Yeah, it was cool because I thought he was gonna live.
Yeah.
And just be good.
And he also called everybody Oompa Loompas, which is racist.
Yeah, he called those guys an Oompa Loompas.
Yeah. And
that's not cool, man.
Yeah, it's not cool. Because
Gene Wilder is rolling over in his grave right now.
Even though the Oompa Loompas, it's like, how much did they get paid to be with
Probably
Willy Wonka?
nothing.
Probably 65 pieces of candy an hour.
Oh God, they actually did pay them candy. Oh, fuck.
I think they do, because like in the newest Willy Wonka, I think in the books they do, and in the newest Willy Wonka, that's how
I just
he was.
meant in real life.
Oh, gotcha.
Of course they get paid in candy.
Yeah, they have
And
obviously.
safety.
So Travis they're making a speech. Rosario Dawson and The Rock, they're like, well, neither one of us got what we wanted, but at least we saved the town, right? And then Travis comes up, oh, y'all talking about this Travis? Because he gives the gato. He gives the gato to Marina and says it really wasn't about the money the whole time.
But it almost was.
Yeah, it
He kind of took off with it.
Yeah, he's like, god dang it. Maybe if I make the gesture of coming back, I'll get more money from the gato and Beck won't take me. But Beck, who tells him that despite all that they've been through, he must still return Travis to the United States because no brakes.
Yeah, what the fuck?
All gas, no brakes. That's The Rock, baby.
Oh, I've been so pissed. Oh,
I mean, like, seriously? Well, then I'm running away again.
Damn it, yeah.
So Travis is delivered to his dad, who begins to verbally and physically abuse him because it turns out this guy, no good, very bad.
Mm-hmm.
Beck receives his money and asks to celebrate with them and gives Walker and his men the fruit that paralyzes them.
Yeah, it makes him trip balls.
It's great. It's like
immediately, by the way, without swallowing.
Travis just like, as soon as he sees him, he's like, I get so happy. It's so funny. The face he makes, he's like, oh my gosh, I'm survived.
See a secret.
Yeah. And as they are paralyzed, Beck removes the handcuffs from Travis and the duo leave together with Travis continuing to jokingly mock and annoy Beck. I love it because he's like, hey, you remember your friend, Mr. Thunder? How about his buddy, Mr. Lightning?
Yeah,
oh, I know you know him. You know him real well, don't you? And then it's like grunts. I'm just playing, man. I'll be in the truck. Beck's like, I'm going to kill you. I was going to do that as our opening line.
I'm so confused by that scene. Like,
yeah. He's just messing with him. But that's the movie.
That was fun.
Classic early 2000s action movie.
Best whip work I've seen since Spartacus.
It is. I mean, it's the best rope fighting, the best whip fighting I think we've probably ever seen, right? I don't know too many movies with whips and people just doing like dives off of trees with ropes on them.
Taking out buildings with their bodies. Hell yeah.
We used to make things in this country. If you compare this movie to something like, I'm trying to think, I don't always want to use The Gray Man as a, let's talk about the Chris Hemsworth movie, The Extraction. Did you ever watch that?
Extraction?
Extraction. Yeah, it came out a couple years
With
ago.
the
They have a sequel.
Kidnap people
Yeah, I think someone gets kidnapped or something, and he's got to extract them
from the jungle.
from the jungle. Yeah. And it's
I
like
think I
there's
have
so
seen it.
much CGI in
I
it,
don't
and
know.
so much of it is just them shooting their guns over and over and over. It's cool. But like the locations don't feel real because there's a lot of CGI. The action's very choppy throughout the entire thing, and there's nothing super interesting about it except for a couple of the one shots that they do. Versus like a movie like this, it's probably on the same script level and type of production level, but there just seems to be, there's cooler ideas.
It's a
With
little
the
bit
ropes,
wittier as
the
well.
whips. Yeah, it's funnier. And there's a few funny parts of Extraction, but it's just Chris Hemsworth, who's extremely charismatic. They're like, make sure you don't be charismatic as much as possible.
Wow.
But I mean, he's great. He's the best part in it. And but they don't give him like great back and forth scenes with any of the actors like they do in this. And I think that's where this movie kind of takes a leap, is that, the banter back and forth is really funny. You know, it's like great. It's like I could watch Seann William Scott and The Rock just kind of walk in the woods picking on each other.
Yeah,
because
that
that's
would
why
be pretty funny.
That's what works with Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson. It's like, as if Dwayne Johnson has someone funny to play off of, it's always great. Like Central Intelligence, and
yeah,
even though that's like I used to like do a thing when I was in Murfreesboro, like Mediocre Movie Monday, where I just kind of get a bunch of like mediocre like movies that have like 60% on Rotten Tomatoes that aren't like great but are very watchable. Like Central Intelligence was one of them.
Oh, nice.
And that's what this movie kind of feels like, but just like a little bit better.
More explosions.
It's like it's not
punches.
like close to being sort of like rotten, but it's just like a little bit away from being rotten.
It's ripe.
Yeah, it's
rotten.
ripe, but it's not. It's like this movie. Like I prefer apples over pears, but pears are still pretty good.
Okay.
And that's what this movie is. A pear. I don't know, dude.
This is a great pear.
That's my Christopher Walken analogy.
Give me my pear back.
Yeah. So we're going to head into our categories: the good, the bad, the ugly, the fine. This is where we talk about the good of the film, something we liked; the bad, something we didn't like; the ugly, something that didn't age well; the fine, something that did age well. I'm going to start rope fighting and whip fighting.
Yeah, the fight scenes are fucking cool.
That's great. I figure we'll both probably have the fight scenes just because the action scenes just pop out so much here. Also, the Rock just, I mean, for just this being his third movie and his like second as the lead, he crushed it. I feel like he did a great job.
It was awesome.
It was a great like starting point for his career, which
Sure.
eventually led to him being one of the most profitable actors on the planet.
Do you remember there was another jungle movie he was in? I think it was, but he maybe Journey to the Center of the Earth. Yeah,
because he did the sequel to it because Brendan Fraser did the first one, I believe.
Okay, yeah, maybe in the sequel, but he was like bouncing berries off of his pecs.
Because that one was in 3D because it bounces at the camera. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing here?
What am I watching?
It is funny because
it's come a long way.
He started in the Mummy universe, and then as Brendan Fraser's like stardom went down, Rock took over the Journey to the Center of Earth and kind of
absorbed it.
He essentially took his spot in the. Because I will say, The Rock is no Arnold.
Dwayne Johnson is actually a Cronenberg of amalgamation of people, souls into one.
He's Brendan Fraser and Arnold, and it's wrapped in the same thing. He's got the comedy of Brendan Fraser, and he's got the physicality as Arnold. Wow.
Yeah.
We crushed it. So, what do you got for the bad?
There are some silly parts, like the slipping on the magazine, like just some of those. Not really a whole lot. That was bad. And calling someone a monkey and an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah, not very
Maybe
good.
that's a bit ugly.
Very good. Definitely. Yeah, that's probably definitely the ugly. Man, for my bad, I picked the score of this film. The like electric guitar score of it. I'm like, this is supposed to be an action adventure, and every time it's like, go, 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 go. I'm like, dude, like this is not the score that we should be using. It's definitely an early 2000s score where it's like, we watched. This movie obviously saw movies like Snatch and Saw and was like, let's edit it and make cool soundtracks. And it's like,
it never stood out to me at all.
Yeah. Anytime when I was recognizing it, I was like, this movie is being ruined by the score. But yeah, so I don't know. Just get a better score next time, guys.
I didn't even notice it because it was so bad, I guess. Or I was just indifferent to it.
It just kept annoying me. I'm like, okay, cool, guitar riffs.
They just pulled out a drawer full of background action movie soundtrack.
Yeah, it sounds like it's just, they just went on the internet. It's like freemusic.com. So I'm assuming your ugly is the Oompa Loompas. And
yeah, I think so.
Mine was it's a movie of the times. Early 2000s wasn't the best time for movies.
Sure.
I feel like late 2000s started crushing, but just felt like we were in this weird period where we had new technology in cinema and we're just trying to speed up the movies a lot by editing. And it just seemed like we're in like new metal era and scores aren't as good. They always want to use guitars and just doesn't fully work for me. The movie's still good, but it's just like if this was made like 8 years later, I'd be like, man, this would have been probably
I do want to be clear that I think what I mean, I don't really care if you call someone an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit about the Oompa Loompas, but
it was just they were small people of color in another planet and a white guy was calling them that. Just doesn't work, you know? Yeah. And obviously you can't call people of color monkeys.
Right.
It's like, no good, very bad racist people.
I think it was just a poor choice to go with name calling is what kind of made this guy evil. When he has
because it's like they made him too likable.
Maybe
it's like you made the racist guy who essentially is enslaving people funny and kind of likable by making him Christopher Walken, and it's just like
gotta make him bad with.
It's like he's funny, and every time he's on screen, it's great, but then it's just like, man,
how do we make everyone hate him?
He's doing terrible stuff.
Okay,
it's just like he's like enslaving people. This is the worst. So we'll go to the fine. I put The Rock as a movie star.
Yeah.
And Rosario
great.
Dawson, like she's great, amazing. Christopher Walken doesn't do much anymore, but
yeah,
I just feel like the stars in this movie, and like all of them aged well. I feel like, except Seann William Scott, even though he does role models a little bit after this, which is probably like what I think he's probably that or American Pie is the funniest in. Though we did watch Old School yesterday, and where it gets to the scene where the scene where Will Ferrell's character shoots himself with the sleeping dart.
He's like, yes.
Oh, bro, that's wild. But there's my favorite part of that scene, the very funny scene. There's a part where he's like talking about how powerful it is, and it's like, yeah, if this big guy gets a little riled up, and it's a miniature pony. And then like he takes the reins of the horse and kind of jerks on it a little bit, and the horse wakes up. He's like, "Yeah, you calm down."
It's just
something that's so funny about just his facial. He's just really funny.
And doesn't he have a mullet? In that
he has a mullet. It's terrible, and he's like wearing a jean jacket with like the arms cut off.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
We're gonna do Old School soon. That movie is hilarious. There's gonna be a lot of the ugly in that movie. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else for the fine?
No.
Pretty much wrapped it up.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move to our next category, the double feature. So where we recommend a movie to go along with this movie. I think we both kind of had the same movie, Romancing the Stone.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it at this point.
is but I feel like it would be a great Romancing the Stone's better, I would say. Danny DeVito fucking crushes that movie.
Well, yeah, it's a good movie, and it's so similar to this.
Fun action
but
role.
Also love. There's really no like love interest in this one.
Yeah, because it's like they all seem like they want to be into Rosario Dawson's character, but they're like, but we're not going to do that in this film, which was kind of refreshing, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't just like two guys lusting over this one girl. It's like, no, we have things important here that in real life we would not be focusing on this one girl if this was real life, because we're like, we're all about to die. Versus Romancing the Stone, where the whole time he's constantly getting in trouble, but they're like, we're falling in love.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that movie though. Romancing the Stone.
It's so good.
It rips. All right. And that's our coverage on this movie this week.
We've done it again. Masterpiece.
Okay. So I kind of either want to do Minority Report or War of the Worlds.
Fuck yeah, man.
Which one would you want to do? You want to do like an alien disaster?
Think of Tom Cruise in the sense of
they're both Steven Spielberg movies.
Tom Cruise flies, come through. Tom Cruise spies. Tom Cruise aliens.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're both. I fucking love Minority Report.
Yeah. You want to do that one then?
But War of the Worlds is pretty good too. So I don't know.
All right, pick a number 1 and 2.
1.
Okay, that was War of the Worlds. So we're doing War of the Worlds. I love War of the Worlds.
Hell yeah.
I feel like it's a Steven Spielberg's, like when you think of his 2000 movies, you know, they got like Minority Report, Catch Me If You Can, War of the Worlds, like those are, and Munich. Have you seen Munich?
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
Cool.
Crazy sex scene at the end. It's wild. I feel like those 4 movies kind of get lost a little bit. Like when you talk about Steven Spielberg's filmography, you know, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Jaws, like that was his earlier stuff. And then when he gets to his later stuff or his mid-career stuff, I feel like they're not talked about enough, but they're so good. They're all
really good
solid.
Ones.
They're all very solid. And I can't wait to talk about War of the Worlds. I watched that movie so much in high school. It just, aliens, does that, and I love that you get like a lot of the start of the apocalypse type situation. The ending, I can't wait to talk about the ending because I do not like a lot of elements of the ending, but I can't wait to discuss it. I'm so excited to rewatch War of the Worlds.
Fuck yeah, man.
You got Dakota Fanning just screaming her lungs out.
Did you ever read the book?
Yeah, actually, because I have like all of that guy's books, like a huge collection of his books. I like the movie more than the book. Did you ever listen to,
to the radio station that played that where people killed themselves because they were so scared?
The aliens are real. We're out of here.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah. I never listened. I've listened to it a little bit because we learned about it in like film school and stuff like that, or like communication classes.
That'd be a fun thing to listen to.
Yeah.
It's a short story.
Maybe I will whenever because I'm getting my wisdom teeth out in 2 days and I'm going to be like drugged up. Maybe I'll just take whatever pain pills they're going to give me and just kind of listen to War of the Worlds. Natalie comes home from work. I'm like boarded up the entire house.
Yeah, they're here.
They're here. I'm high on fentanyl or whatever they're going to give me, but they're here.
Shit, I don't think they're going to go that hard.
I don't know. I don't know what painkillers they give you for your wisdom teeth extractions.
Fentanyl's for like back surgery.
Oh, gotcha. That's what like they inject you with whenever you do like a spinal thing, right?
Not really sure, but I know that they do. Fentanyl usually comes in other pills or like patches, and they can probably do like inject it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I interned at a orthopedic surgeon's office one summer.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I guess when we get into medical facts about War of the Worlds, we know who to come to.
No.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap our discussion on The Rundown. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you rewatched it and enjoyed yourself. This is kind of one of those movies where I was like, that'd be fun to do on the podcast. Something like we recommend a movie that people probably haven't watched in a while or maybe have never watched. And it's just kind of like this lost film in cinema. I really enjoyed it. So make sure to join us next week for War of the Worlds. And if you want to leave us some fan mail, you can click on the description in wherever you're listening to where it says send us some fan mail. Just click that link and you can just text us some fan mail and we'll read it on the podcast. Or you can send us an email the old fashioned way through Gmail and stuff at werecommendmailbag@gmail.com. Thanks to Joey Prosser, who did our intro and outro. You can follow him on X at Mr. Joey Prosser. And you can go to our linktree/we recommend podcast, where you can quickly follow us on any of our social medias and or listen to us on another platform. That's it, right? That's what I usually always say.
That's all of it, I think.
All right. Well, this has been the We Recommend podcast. I'm Jesse.
I'm Jason.
They have my tooth. I want it back.
My fucking teeth.
Bye.